Hi everyone, it's Vicky. I hope you're doing well. So I'm going to be showing you how I made this lovely anniversary card today. So I already have my A5 UK size card blank, which is half of A4, which is about half of one of your standard letter sizes over in the US. I've also got a slightly smaller black piece of card for matting and layering, and then a slightly smaller piece of white card, which I will be doing all my stamping on. And this is loaded into my nice big Misty. So I've loaded the first of my stamps from this set into my Misty, and I'm just using some black archival ink to stamp out the outline for this particular lily. And this is the Altenew set. I think I showed you it at the very beginning. If not, I will put down in my description which set it is. And I will be using these Altenew dye inks. I love these cute little cubes. They all come in groups of 4, so they have a light, a mid and a dark shade, and an extra dark as well, so it makes it much easier to get the different tones you need for the stamping. So with these Altenew stamps, you just work your way from lightest to darkest from the beginning of the numbers series, and they do tell you which particular stamps work and which order to do them in as well. And then the back of the packaging also has a stamping layering guide, which is genius. So I'm going to use the lightest colour for the first filling image, if you like. Obviously, and then just make sure you obviously clean your stamps between the different colours. So that just puts down that first main layer in there. These Altenew inks as well, you'll see when you do originally use them, they kind of look like they're not perfectly smooth when they go on. But as they dry back, they lighten and they do go much smoother in texture, and they end up looking absolutely stunning. So you have to bear with me while I'm doing this. I think it was this one I realised, it took me a while to realise I had the stamp upside down, so it was never going to line up. Which is why it took me quite a while to line it up. You can probably almost hear the wanting to slap my head on the forehead, my hand on my forehead when I realised what I'd done. So once that's lined up, I can pick that up with the door of my Misty, and I'll use the second shade in these lovely Altenew inks. I'm going to keep going with these. This card I actually made in January. It is my dad's anniversary card for my mum, hence why this is not going to be on my YouTube until today, which will be in February, so that my mum doesn't see it beforehand. I am actually really impressed with this card. I think it ended up really, really pretty. I saw a similar one by, I think it was Jennifer Maguire, if I'm honest. I can't remember. If it's not the right person, I'm really sorry, whoever it was that I've totally not given credit for. She did, rather than what I'm going to do for my background, she used the first image from the set in a lighter shade to create her additional bits for the background, but I decided I quite like the idea of using the outline. So it is just a case of lining all these up. I'm also trying to line these up from slightly away because I didn't want to keep putting my head in the frame, so I apologise if it does take me longer than it probably would take me normally. And also for the lighting, the weather's been very unpredictable around me at the moment. The clouds come and they go, so the lighting does fluctuate slightly because I do craft near a window. So again, I apologise for that if you appear to be in blue light sometimes and normal light other times. I do try and regulate it with lamps, but I think I need to invest in some slightly stronger lamps, I'm not going to lie. So then once that bit's done, it's time to do the stamens on these, and it does give you 2 stamps for the stamens as well. So I'm going to layer that one in there, and then I'm going to use some of the yellows from Altenew for the stamens. So bear with me while I get those out and show you. So I'm going to use the 2 lightest shades for this, because obviously I don't want it to be too bright against the beautiful pink flower. I think this isn't the first time I've used the stamps set. I did do a test stamp on it the day before I filmed this, just to get used to how the layering kind of works and work out what colours I liked the look of before I committed to doing anything for this card. Obviously I knew I was going to be doing this card for my dad, so I wanted to make sure it was nice and perfect for him to give my mum for Valentine's, for their anniversary. Their anniversary is literally right next to a Valentine's Day. It's very easily confused. So that is the last one for the actual flower layering. So I'm just going to show you that I absolutely love how this turned out. I then stamped the outline image onto some masking paper. Now I wasn't bothered about cutting around the very top of it, because it was going just to be for the leaves, and the leaves were all going to be on one side, so I just fussy cut around half of the image just so that I could mask off my beautiful pink flower and then do the leaves. If you can hear a car in the background, I apologise. One of my neighbours has a very, very loud engined car. So if you can hear that revving in the background, I do apologise. So again, it's just going to be a case of layering up the leaf stamp. So there is the black outline again, obviously to keep going with the theme that I was going with. And then I'm going to use the two lightest colours of the Altenew greens that I have to do the next two layers. I'm just trying to move some of the other colours out of the way because I just kept them all at the top and didn't quite get in the way by the end of this. So I'm just going to put that to one side and layer on the green. I do really like these greens as well, actually. They're really nice variation in shades, so if you use the lighter ones or the darker ones, you get a completely different effect. So I'm just going to use the two lightest. Obviously the flower is quite light in itself, so I didn't want to make it too dark. The joys of the masking is look, whatever the key is, whatever image you want to be at the front, you stamp first and then cover it up and then stamp over the masking with the bit that's going to be in the background. It sounds counterintuitive. So the things at the front you do first, and then you build away from the front of the screen, or the front of the card rather, if that makes sense. If I'd wanted the leaves in the front, I'd have had to do them first and then stamp the flower, but obviously I wanted it the way around that I've done it. But that's just a little bit of hints and advice for you there. And then I can just remove that, masking off once those greens are all done. I'm not going to lie, I absolutely adore how the image turned out. Super, super pleased with it in the end. Although I do think I still got a couple of leaves to go. I think my entire screen seemed to slow down there while I was going. There we go. Please bear with me while I get these stamped for you. It's been a while since I've done any masking as well, so I was a bit nervous, I'm not going to lie, about doing it, especially after I'd put so much effort into the particular flower. Right, so that's the greens away. And then, ta-da! That's how the image turns out. So what I'll do is I'll just move my leaf out of the way, and then I will let you have a quick look at that image with the leaves now on there as well. So what I'm intending to do is create my background with the outline stamp. As I say, the original one that I kind of got the inspiration from, they used the background stamp, the bottom layer, so it was just like a silhouette of it, whereas I decided I quite wanted the actual image, but I'm using the darkest of the pinks. So the darkest of the pinks wasn't used in the actual flower image that I did, but I thought if I use it for the outline, and then that incorporates it in as well. And it's just the outline. So all I'm doing is moving my paper around, because I do want the images to go off the paper as well. So you get bits and bobs. I'm rotating that stamp and I'm moving it around. The best idea I've worked out is to start from a corner and then work your way out from there. If you start somewhere else, you can quite often like get yourself boxed in, and obviously I didn't want to get boxed in with my images. So I'm just going to stamp these out. It looks slightly darker, like more of a blacky colour from here, but you will see once I hold it up to the light that it is actually just a really nice dark pinky colour. So I wanted that to go slightly off, so I am moving that over there. You'll see I've now got two magnets. One of them's from my mini Misty. I just wanted to make sure I had extra hold on the paper in case I needed to double stamp any of the images, because obviously I am putting the paper into the middle of my Misty, whereas normally I'd have it in the bottom corner, so if it did move I could always just realign it back in the bottom corner, but obviously that wasn't an option for this. So I'm just going to keep pressing those. I am sometimes using my microfiber cloth just to give me a bit of extra pressure and try and make it a little bit more even. Sometimes I think my pushing isn't quite as accurate as it probably could be. I'm just cleaning that stamp up a little bit. I think a little bit of it got a bit messy, so I just wanted to give it a bit of a clean before I went in for the next section. So obviously I'm stamping up across from the top, and I'm just trying to find a nice way to get them all laid in there. Luckily I had cleaned that before I did this because it just fell off, and if it had fell off and it had ink on it, it would have stamped into the middle of my page, and I possibly might have cried when I was this far through my image. So I'm going to just get that one stamped, and then I think I do one more just up in the top corner. I could have done with an even bigger Misty for this, because obviously I wanted this to come out of that corner. I was debating using just a stamp, just a generic block, but I thought if it isn't perfect and I want to redo it, it's going to annoy me. So I did end up just having to do that a couple of extra presses, but it ended up looking the way I wanted it. So I'm going to put my magnet out of the way, put my other magnet back on my other Misty, and then that is the background for my card all done. So this is just from a Crafter's Companion set, the words Happy Anniversary. It was the nicest Happy Anniversary stamp that I had, so I'm just going to stamp that in black onto my white cardstock. I'm going to put it in the middle so I can trim it down at either end. This one, I just wanted to use standard black ink onto the white. I like that this card, it looks like it has quite a lot of depth and layers to it, but it is just pretty much a one layer card, apart from a bit of matting and layering on the background. So that's also really nice. And I do put some dimension into the sentiment, but there's not a lot of it, but it still looks really intricate. Again, I forgot to press record, so I apologise, but all I did was just mat that front focal panel onto the black card, and then I'm just using some tape on a roll because I am out of tape runner, which I need to invest in some more, and then so I'm using some of the tape and some glue. The main reason I don't tend to use a lot of this kind of tape when I'm doing my mats and layers is purely because I am terrible at removing the backing strips. Absolutely terrible at it. I find that if I do use my bone folder to really rub it down, it makes it a little bit easier, but I'm still not great at it, and it doesn't make for an interesting video for you watching me struggle with the paper, although it possibly may make some of you feel better about if you have issues as well. You are not alone. I think it's a common struggle. So I'm just going to get those peeled away there, and then I will obviously add some wet glue to this as well. So bear with me while that gets squirted all over there. I do tend to put some just over where the double-sided is as well, because it gives a little bit of wiggle room on it, but then the tape will take that immediate stick once I've give it a little wiggle into place, so that works out really well. And then I'm just going to centre that onto my card as such, and I did have a little tiny squirt of glue out the side, so I'm just going to quickly clean that up with some paper towel. And then it was just popping my sentiment. I decided to pop it down the bottom corner because I didn't add another flower down there, and there was a little bit of a gap that I thought I could have done with one, so I decided that the sentiment could go there and that would cover where that gap was and it would look great. So as I say, I'm just popping a little bit of double-sided tape on, double-sided foam rather, on there. I'm just going to position that at the bottom with the Happy Anniversary. And that is the card done. I did pop a little sentiment on the inside, but I haven't shown that on the video. I hope you've enjoyed this. I had so much fun making this card. Take care, guys. Bye.